Hey everyone, this is Social Problems Lecture 0.1 in my two lectures to get us really going in the course. In this lecture, we're going to talk about really what you're supposed to be getting out of this lecture, and a little bit more about me, your professor, Jeremy Baker, and that's basically it. So we're going to talk about what the course is, we're going to talk about me. The review of the syllabus in Blackboard I did in lecture, I think I called it 0.0. So look at that presentation. It should also appear right beside this one. In terms of content warnings, I am going to mention sex crimes and sexism as an example. And I also am encouraging you to review the syllabus reading, including points of concern, including LGBTQ plus issues, gay rights issues, race issues, all of those things in society that can be controversial, because we are going to be talking about them, and I don't want anyone to get caught unaware and feel uncomfortable in doing an assignment that's required for the course when at this point, very early in the course, they could drop the course, right, with no negative repercussions. I say that in absolutely all kindness and sincerity. If you don't want to do this stuff, it's okay. It's a human right, really, to choose what you learn about. But if you're good to go, let's get started talking about it. So, this is a sociology course in which we study social problems present in our society. Sociology is a social science, and you probably learned all about this in Soc 101, which is the prereq for this course. But if it's been a while since you've taken a sociology course, you may need to be reminded that we use the scientific method, which is by definition what makes all sciences sciences. And sociological data is factual, it is not opinion. So when sociologists tell you that we have conclusive evidence that people making this much money have a distinct tendency to vote in this way, we are doing that with data that we have. It's not just a opinion that we came up with. There is something we are basing this on. And in some instances, that is super obvious. And in other instances, it can be a little bit confusing, mainly, especially on topics like immigration or on topics like child rearing and poverty and women's rights issues, health issues, abortion issues, a lot of the things that are very controversial in our society. Those most controversial things, we are used to only hearing opinions, right? So when there are actually scientific studies and findings in those regard, it can be hard to recognize that actually as unwaivable fact, which is a little bit of a difficulty sometimes people who aren't sociologists have when interacting with sociology. And then and as I mentioned that, I kind of already addressed that. Topics that pertain to social problems are also often controversial, and social problems are a subdiscipline within the field of sociology. So for example, the roles of men and women in society. You probably know what you believe is appropriate behavior between men and women in society, but other people, I guarantee, other people have opinions that are the opposite of yours, right? That is the nature of the society in which we live. Well, there are sociological findings in those regard, as far as like family structures, the likelihood of divorce, et cetera, et cetera. Additionally, some topics within the realm of social problems can be very unpleasant to think about. Things like sex crimes, things like rape, terrorism, serial killing, warfare, highly unpleasant things. Well, we do talk about those in terms of sociology. I often say to my Soc 101 students who are getting used to the subject matter, sociology can absolutely be a bummer, right? There could be a lot of depressing material in sociology. Well, social problems is an area within sociology that, like, is even more of a bummer than usual, is really the short of it. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about myself as to who exactly I am and what do I do. Well, my name is Jeremy E. Baker. I usually insert that E in there mainly because there are many Jeremy Bakers in the United States. Most of them are good guys. I do know one of them is a con artist because he tried to steal my identity about 2 decades ago. That was lovely. I teach at The Ohio State University, and I also teach at a smaller university in central Ohio. This brings up the point that I live in Ohio, so we are never actually meeting in person for this class because I live out of state. But I have been teaching for USC Upstate for, I think if I remember correctly, about 5 years now. It's been a bit. I've also taught at Columbus State Community College and University of New Mexico. I recently stopped teaching for University of New Mexico, largely to bring my work-life balance into balance. I was teaching for 4 schools. That was too much, so now I just teach for 3 schools. That's a little more attainable. But I've also taught at Columbus State Community College. And I bring that up because community colleges teach a whole lot more lifelong learning students. A lot more people who maybe took a break after high school and worked and now are coming back to college. But if you are one of those people at USC Upstate, I'm just letting you know that I am very much used to working with lifelong learning students or non-traditional students, but I'm also absolutely used to working with the so-called traditional students as well. I've taught a lot of many different kinds of students. So, courses I currently teach are Introduction to Sociology. That is very much a course that I can teach sleeping on my head, basically. Sociological Aspects of Deviance is something else I teach. That is where we look at criminal behavior, deviant behavior, and why people may or may not break the rules of society. It's a really interesting topic. I teach environmental justice. That is sometimes also called environmental sociology, looking at how we humans are shifting and changing as climate change occurs. It's a really interesting thing. Social problems, we're here right now. Sociology of poverty, where we look at how being poor impacts people's behaviors. And then sociology of family really looks at the diversity of families in our society currently. Additionally, I have taught crime justice and the criminal justice system, which is about police and policing and how that whole system works and how it is almost entirely dysfunctional in our society as it currently exists. I've also taught courses on college success, which is about basically teaching you how to write papers, teaching you how to get the most out of your college experience. If you are still relatively new in your college career, or you just have some general questions about what is expected of you, I am open to those questions as well. Just let me know, send me an email. Race and ethnicity is something I've taught in the past. Race and ethnicity isn't always offered at in some sociology departments, and I think a reason for that is that most sociologists wind up talking about race and ethnicity in almost every subject they talk about because it is so deeply embedded in our society, the implications of racial identities, ethnic identities, etc. We basically always wind up talking about that in social classes, but there are specifically courses for it as well. And then finally, social research methods is basically where you learn how to actually be a scientist as a sociologist. That's a really fun course to teach. I'm actually going to start teaching that in the spring at a different school. But anyway, so let's talk about why exactly these lectures exist. This course is entirely online and mostly asynchronous. That word asynchronous, if you're not super familiar with it, means that we are not all doing our stuff all at the same time. I am recording this lecture actually about 2 weeks before you're slated to hear it. That is because I won't be having childcare on that day, and we can make that happen because of the structure of this course, right? We never meet in person. There is no set class time. My office hours are listed in the syllabus, and we will, though, have 2 live online study sessions. If you can't make those study sessions, that's okay. A recording will be made. However, it is in your best interest to make it to those sessions if you possibly can, because you will be able to ask me live the questions about our exam itself. I very strongly encourage you to make it to those. Now, kind of a misconception about online learning is that it is entirely self-paced. So a benefit of the way I have this class structured is that you can do your work whenever in the week works for you, right? I do suggest kind of doing your work at the same time of day or the same time in the week every week. That's a good practice to fall into, or maybe like 1 hour here, 1 hour there, a couple hours there. However, even though you can work at your own pace, we do still have weekly deadlines. So your initial discussion post is going to be on Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. That's your initial post for our discussions. And I talked in great detail about what exactly is expected of you in discussions in my first lecture of these orientation lectures as to why we have our 3, like it said, all that. I'm not going to go into it all over again. All other work, other than those initial discussion posts, all other work, including your comment posts, including quizzes, papers, exams, etc., those are due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. And all deadlines, though, if you have a doubt, are listed on the syllabus. And the syllabus is the chief document of the course. If something is contradictory to things, if something online doesn't match what is on the syllabus, I will by default say this is what it says on the syllabus, because the syllabus is your contract for the course between me and you. It should be noted that the final exam may not be due on Sunday. It could be due on some other day. I think actually it is due on Sunday, but I will double check that by the end of the course, and I'll send out an announcement about that and all that. Lectures for this course are supplemental to the reading of the course. So that's a very important thing for you to know about. You could ask yourself, well, I'm only seeing 1 half-hour lecture for this week. Is that the only thing I'm supposed to do is watch that lecture? No. No, that's not the only thing. What this course is designed to do is put more of the learning in your hands that you can do on your own, and that means the reading, right? We used to call these correspondence courses before the modern era, where people would do it in the physical mail. This is really a much better situation than a correspondence course, because you can interact with us back and forth very quickly. But the way it is like a correspondence course is that you do your reading on your own. And then after you do that reading, then you should watch the lecture, so the lecture can highlight the things that you should have gotten out of that reading. Now, if by chance watching the lecture works better for you, then you watch the lecture and then you do the reading. Which one you do first that's fine, whatever, but you have to do the reading, because the course is designed to make sure you have done the reading for you to get everything you need to out of the course. Additionally, these lectures are stripped down to be as efficient as possible, because our human attention spans have trouble paying attention not only to lectures, but especially long online lectures. When I'm talking to you in person, and I'm even doing it right now even though my camera isn't on, I am making gestures to get you to pay attention to what I'm saying, but you can't see that right now. The reality of the matter is we have a hard time watching things online. And if you feel yourself drifting off attention span wise, I've mentioned I also have ADHD, in case any of you have it. Just go ahead and pause it and then take a walk around the house, eat a snack, and come back, right? As long as you actually watch the whole lecture, as long as you actually read the whole chapter, it doesn't matter exactly how you do it. That's the beauty of the online class. And that's really the gist of it. So these lectures are intentionally short to give you what you need to be able to success. And then the last thing I want to drive into your brain is that you have to keep up on the readings. That is the critical element of the course. It is up to you to do that, and I want you to succeed and give you those tools for success. Okay, that is the end of this lecture. It's coming in at about 16 minutes or so. So be sure to, if you haven't already, go back and watch lecture 0.0. And check the syllabus for your reading. I don't think I put in any reading for this week. I could be wrong, but absolutely get that book as soon as possible if you don't already have it. Okay, you have any questions, please send me an email, and I hope to talk to you in one way or another soon. See you all later.